talk about this trade, guys. Wait, I got music blasting. Pretty loud, probably louder than me right now. Actually, I also forgot to pick up this audio. There you go. Now we're louder, but I'm still gonna like crank it a little bit down. There you go. Trade recap, boys. Next. Let's talk about it, right? Come into the day. What was my 4-hour bullish? Why? What do we have right here? First of all, let's move from left to right. We're not looking right to left. We're not looking at what's happening now. We're looking at how it played out and what's the next move, right? So from left to right, created this high. Possibly, what did this high do? Swept that high or made equal highs. I think actually, I don't even think we swept it, but could be equal. Probably equal highs, yeah. No, swept it. Okay. I like the bare minimum. Anyways, so we swept that high. We go down, sweep this low, come into for value gap, respect for value gap. Simple. Now, since we're respecting for value gap, what's the next strong liquidity? This high. Of which, what we do? We swept that high right here with this candle. Alright, so now we're going down. What's the next thing to expect going down? This low to sweep. Right? We swept lows. Literally at this 2 o'clock with the 4 hour. And our next target will be this fair value gap. And if this fails, this low. Right? That's all. So right now we're bullish because we're pumping into, we're not pumping, but we're going into a area that we know has a high time frame, high confluence, everything's synced together, right? You know it has a high probability when a lot of things are lying within it. So, like, this being a fair value gap and having a low that could possibly be swept on top of having this low, it's just this entire area, right? This entire area right here, we already know it's high confluence for bullish momentum. Scale into the 1 hour. Left to right, right? Honestly, we don't need to know that anymore, but 1 hour, I like to play and look at what's really happening here. 4 hours, more of a broader, what's going on in total, you know what I mean? Because this is not any more really relevant unless I'm marking out highs and stuff to look for. But otherwise, what's going on right now? What are the candles doing now? Instead of it like that, you know? So, what do we see going on right here? Well, we came up, we swept that high, and we came down cool. Came down, whatever reason. Tapped into what? If I were to show you this, this is the fair value gap, okay? Alright, cool. We tapped the fair value gap, right? On top of that, we swept this low right here. But point is, we came in, tapped the fair value gap, right? Now we're going up. So, what's my next target? Understand that we're going up. Now, this is all pre-market, like literally far pre. It's like London. This would be your high to target. That breaks, this is your high to target right after. And if that fails, this high. Then comes in market open, right here, the 9 o'clock candle. What do I see? We're playing inside of this 1 hour fair value gap. Because of that, right? And how I only trade 1 hour and 4 hour confluences, I'm looking around. Okay, what's our next strong liquidity? This low possibly, and where is low volume inside of 4 hour fair value gap? So one or the other. If we come into that, I'm taking a trade. All right, let's jump into our 1 minute time. Market doesn't even open yet, and it's already dumping down. So I'm like, okay, I'm expecting us to come and tap into this thing. Now, what is this box I drew right here? This is a, I believe, ordered block of the lower time frame. Yeah. Right, because how do we look for an IFEG? We want to tap into the high time frame PD array with a PD array inside that supports the IFEG for its momentum. So while this is true in that we did spike in volume here, this doesn't really mean much, right? Why? Because did we tap our high time frame PD array? No. So how many confluences are we having right here just based off of this? 2. We only trade 3. Never 2. Unless you want to gamble away. On top of that, I mean, this fair value gap close is kind of weak with that like rejection on top, so it was a little risky with that. Right, so we wait. Come back to the top. I'm like, alright, maybe I'm looking for shorting, selling orders, right? Nothing to really short. I mean, here there's 2 fair value gaps. Not really worth it though. Then look to my left. Alright, 2 minute now. Okay. Not as bad, but it's pretty noticeable fair value gap that we can inverse. Same thing here, kind of. Actually, I answered this trade. Why? Because I saw that we had good rejection from the top here. And then I was like, okay, if this candle closes down, I'll take the entry. Once again, we barely broke it. And if you look at the volume index here, we're just barely on like a high number compared to like here. Here it actually was low and I caught a trade like that, weirdly enough. But anyways, right? So here I'm like, alright, this is kind of choppy. I mean, just look at the candle, guys. If the body didn't close the way you would want it to, why take a trade, you know? So I took this entry like this. And entirely, right, stop loss was calculated right about here. target was this. It was a 2-hour trade. Entered, down, saw this good pump. I was like, oh, possibly we'll just close it here. Then I saw it go up. Why? Why did I want to close? Because this candle is showing a doji, right? Dojis mean what? I hate to really do this to you guys, but I'm pulling up pain. If you see a doji, right, with equal candle sizes, or almost equal, maybe one's a little bit longer, typically it just means there's indecision still in the market, which supports the choppiness. First of all, what do we have here? Rejection off of this candle line, right? We had rejection off of you, and now we're getting rejection off of you. So take a close, right? Don't even want to risk it with this guy. Too weak for us. We recognize that. The candles aren't really pumping. Not a problem. Like I said, come back to this guy. Candle close is a little weird, right? Don't bother with it. Where do you then spy great candle? Alright. We wait, right? We didn't tap into our PD rate, so we know we don't have liquidity. We're just playing internally. It's the greatest tool I could definitely say to you guys is that, right? Do we tap a confluence of a high time frame? Because that's usually where liquidity lies. Higher the time frame, the more probability. Why? Because that's where everything lies. It's simplified. It's generally there. So like this area here, I want us to tap higher probability, right? Also, I want this here to tap 1 hour and 4 hour. Simple enough, right? Hourly we tap here. So I'm like, okay, if we don't really create something, then don't bother, right? It starts to chop around. I mean, volume index is at 25 though, so it could be a valid trade. Pulse down, or whatever. Come up again. What do? We swept this high now, and on top of that, we tap this guy. So anywhere I could catch an inverse, I'll take the trade, right? Where do we catch an inverse? Well, there are two fair value gaps here, so let's scale up a little bit. Let's go 3 minute. Okay, well, what's that? We already hit TP, so don't bother. And fortunately enough, where did we come down into? We came down into the 4-hour confluence. The thing that we only trade if we tap into our 4-hour confluence, right? Now, understand that. What's our bias with the 4-hour? Bullish. What's our bias with the 1 hour now that we came into that guy? Gonna be bullish, right? So I'm gonna trade and look for an entry off of this, right? So we come down, we tap. I'm like, okay, I want to see something. What does the volume index show? Spike. Okay. Any fair value gaps really small? Scale down, right? Too small, then you scale down. As simple as it goes, right? What do I see when I scale down? This perfectly sizable fair value gap, right? Now I want to see us close with it. Good volume. Where's the good volume? Candle right here. Enter. Now you could do break even off of this TP, but because this candle kind of was like, to me, it was kind of like, you know what I mean? I decided to do the fair value gap as break even. So I looked for solid fair value gap. So once we IFG it, break even. Here we IFG it with this guy, break even. Let it ride. Alright, I'm on this guy. So okay, I really want to hit here. That's 1K in total. We tap it, I'm happy. Bump, 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 tap. Trade done, right? So this is where the essence of using multiple time frames comes to play, right, guys? You need to understand what time frame speaks to you when it comes to strategy. What is clear, what isn't, right? 1 minute, and it doesn't hurt to look too, okay? 1 minute, this fair value gap's too small. Knowing, okay, let's explain that a little bit better for you guys. If you have, right, remember, we only trade one fair value gap with a strategy. How many fair value gaps do we have in here? And I'm gonna drop the box with you guys. Do it in lime green. Right? Fair value gap 1. Fair value gap 2. Fair value gap 3. See how there is a collection of... Dude. Slow down. The baddest thing around town. Nothing like a girl that you ever seen before. Nothing can compare to your neighborhood. Oh, I'm trying to find the words to describe this girl without being disrespectful. Alright, anyways, right, let's talk back to stocks. We have how many fair value gaps? We have 1 right here. We have 2 in this box, and then we have 3 in this box. 3 fair value gaps within a single leg down, right? That's a big no-no because now if you want to be technical, you're gonna have to pull out premium and discount and figure out which guy we're trying to beef with. So what is a solution to that? We scale up. This is when we scale up. If there's multiple fair value gaps, say we are within the leg, right? Say we're within a fair value gap here, and there's multiple. I would scale up. This is my high. You know what? Let's do this even better. Purple is gonna be the 4-hour time frame. I'm gonna color this. Here's my 4-hour PD array. We're inside of the fair value gap of the 4-hour. What's my bias? We're bullish. Okay. So 4-hour, we have this PD array, a high time frame PD array, playing for our bullish momentum, right? What is our leg down doing? We're pushing into it. Okay. Say this is the 1 minute time frame. Say I'm gonna color this. Still on the side here. This is the 1 minute time frame. The 1 minute is going down, right? But what do we have? Remember, we trade IFGs only. Fortunately, there's a bunch of fair value gaps, but that's not a good thing to us for a setup. This is an instance where I would scale up. So instead of seeing the 1 minute, I'm gonna start to look for what? The 2 minute, the 3 minute. My potential time frames, right? When I have to scale up because there's multiple fair value gaps, consist of the 2 minute, 3 minute, and the 5 minute at most. 1 minute, of course, is involved, but that's what we're on right now. And you only look at those 4 time frames. And all we're looking for is a simple fair value gap, just a singular. That's the scenario where you have to use a single fair value gap. Otherwise, don't bother, don't touch it, don't mess with it, right? Now, say our scenario were to change where we have a small fair value gap, and it's our time frame for whatever reason, right? Here, let me draw this. Shoot. Okay. Say we're coming down, and I'll just draw it out. Here you go. Pay close attention here. Alright. This is a great example, right? Where do you see the fair value gap? Our only possible fair value gap. Alright, let's do the box. Wick to wick. I wouldn't count it, right? It lines up pretty much, so it's not fair value gap. So we're just gonna drag it over, right? For some reason I can't delete it. Okay. Next up we have this. Obviously it's a line. Here, obviously a line. Let me draw one more so you guys can identify it a lot easier. Alright, we're inside the fair value gap, right? The 4-hour PD array. And if I draw out the only fair value gap I can recognize, it's this really thin, long Johnson, right? That is thin Johnson. Like, what am I going to do with this guy, right? Of course I can't do nothing with it, right? It sucks. So this is an instance where we would switch it around. And instead of scaling higher, because if we scale higher, we have to wait for more price action, right? Typically, what you can do when there's like a bare minimum fair value gap or a tiny one is you scale lower. This is the instance where you use that. So instead of seeing like this tiny fair value gap, right, that you don't want to mess around with, maybe price will give you something and you scale into the 30-second where it looks like this. Bro. And then the 30-second gave you this clear fair value gap that you don't even have to be uncertain about. You say, okay, if we inverse that, I'm in, and I'm gonna target my 30-second targets. 1, 2, 3, you know what I mean? For whatever reason. That's how you should be operating. It's the same scenario here, right? If I go to my 1 minute, that's a small fair value gap for its leg. So what I do? Let's go into the 30-second, right? What did the 30-second give me? This extremely clear bullish for IFEG, right? Take the entry. A moment where there is too many fair value gaps and I want to scale would be this giant leg right here, right? Say I want us to inverse this leg, but there's too many fair value gaps, right? Scale up. Now look what happens when I scale up. It's a single fair value gap, but now I have more time to play and wait. So guess what that entry is going to look like? my stop loss is gonna have to be about, what is this, like 20 points, 40 points, and I'm gonna have to have a more enthusiastic target. So you have to think logically when it comes to that, right? And if it comes with your trading set, right? I typically don't like to risk big. I like to do smaller trades. So if I see a giant fair value gap like this, and of course it gets inversed, I might not want to mess with it. You know what I mean? Like this is chopped and then it came up. And how far did it come up? Well, we're here. Literally, we haven't even seen daily highs. It's an equal daily high too, by the way. But yeah, we're waiting for that. We're definitely gonna tap it. It's just not that long. But this is my point, guys. Is that like a trade like this, it can vary, right? The 30-second fair value gap that I inversed was extremely small, right? What was it? 15 points. That's completely fine. Now, when you start to push 40, that's my typical R trade. Look, I was targeting 52. So why would I have a stop loss of that? You know what I mean? Then you start risking less contracts and it's a smaller trade because you have so much playing field. So this is an example of something I wouldn't take, right? 3 minutes, same thing. And then 5 minutes, the same thing. Now, the 5 minute, you can be reasonable here and say, like, this is a more reasonable one, but you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, right? Now I have to wait a couple more minutes. But that's why when you see multiple fair value gaps, it's good to scale higher. And when you see a singular that's really thin, you can scale lower, right? So here there will be obviously 30 million 30-second fair value gaps because there's so much liquidity, right? I'll just show you. Which is one reason why you wouldn't scale, right? Look at this. Fair value gap 1, fair value gap 2, fair value gap 3, fair value gap 4. But why did I scale down? Because 1, this isn't the leg anymore. Yes, leg down, hump a little high, new leg down. New leg down from the 1 minute tells me what? 30-second. Right, I can use that because it's a new leg. So let's run through a strategy before I upload this on YouTube. I know it's already been 20 minutes almost, but let's do this quickly. 1, right? I mean, we already know this. 1, we look for what? A 4-hour/1 hour PD array. Also draws on liquidity. If price did this, what's next? If it disrespects this, I'm this, right? Simple enough, right? Then scale into your second part of this step, right? Scale into a lower time frame when we tap that PD array. So hourly fair value gap, hourly sweep, or 4-hour fair value gap, or 4-hour sweep, right? When that happens, I scale down to which time frame? 1 minute. Don't jump to the 3, don't jump to the 5, don't jump to the 2 or the 30-second. The 1 minute. This guy is like your neutral, okay? Like, you're always gonna sit on him. Pause. You're gonna be on that time frame, and you're gonna determine if you need to scale higher or scale lower. He's gonna be your guy who tells you, or you will trade him. As simple as it gets, right? It's scale higher, lower, or trade. So in this scenario, right, I sat on the 1 minute, and what I see? New leg, okay. I was gonna scale high because of this new leg. What am I going to do? Go to the 30-second. Because I'm in the 30-second, I'm looking for a single fair value gap. Okay. Say I didn't see that, and I was over here. We saw him tap the PD array, which is why I was waiting, but we tap with that guy too. So, say I'm over here. Ah, that's big. The 1 minute tells me to scale higher. Does a 2 minute cover it? Yes, it does. Fine, use it. Doesn't? 3 minute. Does 3 minute cover it? Yeah, use it. 5 minute cover it? Yeah, use it. Same point though, right? This trade over here is a great example as well, right? Where I was bearish, I sat on the 1 minute, too many fair value gaps, right? It's not the fact that it's small, but if I see multiple, what am I doing? Scale higher. I go higher. Okay, singular fair value gap. Take the inverse. Simple, right? Now, why did I not want to take the trade? Because this IFVG is not sitting in much for us. Like here, obviously, we're tapped into this order block, so it's a reasonable thing like for it to happen. But this guy, I mean, it's kind of confusing for that, right? So don't bother. It's too internal. No externals. No externals when it comes outside, but if it's playing inside, don't bother. Same thing here. What do? We came outside the liquidity. We're not playing inside. I'm not inversing this little guys, right? And that's how it should be, right? That's why I wouldn't bother with this, because there's nothing on top of this to tell me, hey, we're valid, except for the fact that we just swept this low as we inverse it. Right? Did we even sweep a high? I mean, yeah, we swept this high. We started to go down, but we also tapped out. Okay, cool. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you want a credible IFVG. Why is this IFVG credible? Because we tapped into a 1 minute PD array on top of the high time frame PD array and on top of this IFVG. So it's like that. That's it for the video. I don't want to waste you guys' time.